back to the Geekdom Initiative. I am Ben. With me is my co-pilot, my number 2, Don. And we have a special guest, Dave, from the Northern Entertainment Group.
Yes.
How are you doing today, Dave?
I'm doing so good. I saw that the Geekdom Initiative was, they were piling away episode by episode. 30-minute episodes to talk about Come on, guys. What are we doing here? So I came in here to rant, to rave, and make sure that this is longer
Oh,
than it needs to be.
And what better episode to do it with than the first one with incest?
No blood relation, as the cop says in
no.
Australia.
Yeah. It's a good part.
No blood relation. So it won't be weird if you guys kiss later.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, they were Jamie and Sissy before Jamie and Sissy.
I think it's more of a clueless callback myself, but Oh my god, I love Josh.
I know.
Ah,
Josh,
yeah,
what was
there
Paul
you go.
Rudd's character's
Paul
name?
Rudd.
I never seen that movie.
Ah,
I think it was Josh. No, I think it was Josh.
Yeah.
oh my god. I've
I never
Clueless
seen
either.
it.
Sounds
That
right.
was
That
straight
sounds
up.
right for some reason. Yeah. Such a good movie. Yeah. Such a good movie.
But what always a great pleasure to come back and talk Lost with you boys, to get lost with you. Some great, inspiring people.
And I'm hoping
you.
we have some good behind the scenes info from you.
Well,
today.
not good.
Oh.
But I always come with the BTS, man.
Well, when I hit good,
Absolutely.
I mean nice and juicy.
I
Nice
have,
and juicy.
I have behind the scenes on the Boone and Shannon hookup scene.
Nice.
Everything,
Yeah.
You just tell me
Did they
what-
hook up in real life? They hooked up in real life, right? Yeah.
No, I think she was married at the time.
Oh, okay.
Well, her father is Liam Neeson. He would be scared to death if you hook up with her.
There was a moment where I thought that was true. I was like, "What?"
Yeah, I love
Wait a
I
minute, that's
love-
right. She is. She's the
Yeah,
one
she's
from.
Yeah,
taken.
yeah.
Wow, I just realized that. Yeah. No, you're right.
I love that first Taken movie.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
like,
great. Yeah.
It
Absolutely.
came out right when like 24 was big, and it was just like a 24 movie, basically.
Yeah.
I love the
Good
third
movie.
Taken movie where they just say, "Fuck it, we're gonna do The Fugitive."
It's true. That is true.
I didn't kill my wife. Look at us going to such
Right.
great lengths not to talk about this episode.
Well, this is the Boone and Shannon episode. This is the episode where
Yeah.
Locke drugs Boone, and Boone goes on a little trippy and imagines himself making out with Shannon, right?
You did a little bit more than making out.
Mhm.
Chicka pow pow.
Well, that happened in Australia, right? That did happen. Them hooking up,
Yeah.
right? That did happen. Yeah.
No, this is like a. Do you want me just to get into the
Yeah,
production
go-
orders of this episode right
No,
away?
sure, absolutely.
Yeah, go
of
ahead,
course.
man. Go ahead.
So as I teased last time I was on here, I believe in my heart of hearts that whatever the case may be, last week's episode through special next week's episode is the worst 3 episodes strung together until season 3. I think where there's the really not great stuff on Hydra Island that happens at the beginning of season 3.
Yeah, I like that stuff. I love.
We are gonna have a conversation. Is that
Nice.
so?
We will.
Oh my
Because that's part of my
Uh-oh.
favorite.
It's all right. It's
Stop.
already getting hot, man. It's already getting hot.
But
Let's
the reason for the I don't think, and you guys talked about it last week about this episode not being the greatest, and then as you guys got to the end of the episode, you're like, oh man, when's the Boone and Shannon episode? Oh, that's next week, and then you're like, oh, you know what episode I don't like? The Michael flashback. When's that? Oh, that's the week after. So it's this really
That is true.
below
Wow.
par. Yeah, it's a bad run of 3 episodes.
Yeah, I'll admit this isn't my favorite episode. I do like what they set up with her and Saeed. I do like that what they're setting up there, but obviously, other than that,
Mhm.
this just feels like we have to get their backstory in. So here's the point.
I
Here's
will
the
say
direct-
this. I like the connection. I don't know. I think it's this episode. I like the connection where Shannon's father is the one who had the accident with the Modern Family wife, right?
Yes, that's Man of Science. That's the first flashback of season 2 is
Oh,
Jack saving Sarah and letting Shannon's dad die.
right. I didn't like that little connection. Like,
Yeah,
well, we don't know that yet,
Jack's
obviously.
just killing all the men in Shannon's family.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Well, let's be honest. Jack
Well,
kills a lot of
there is a
men.
little bit of organic in there a little bit because I think the Locke and Boone story at least makes it somewhat feel organic the way they bring this storyline in, right? I mean, it does a little bit because
Yeah.
I mean, at this point, it does have to sort of be either a Locke again or a Boone central story because they're telling the story of them, and being at the hatch.
yeah, and so to get, I agree. I think this is all stuff that needed to happen, and at this point, they have already decided Boone is going to die, so it's better to get his his flashback in early. But so the reason that this string of episodes is considered quite so maligned is Damon Lindelof, showrunner, executive producer, uh, brought in by J.J. Abrams at like I forget how young he was, but he was a young showrunner who was when J.J. was working on Alias. Damon Lindelof was looking for a job, and JJ was like, "Come work with me. I like you. Why don't you go run Lost for? Why don't you come with me and you can be in charge of Lost?"
Okay.
And so he jumps on this as his first like really big writing credit, and they're getting into season 1, and Lost was like the biggest thing ever in season 1. Where usually for
Sure.
first seasons of TV shows, they'll give you like the pilot, and if you succeed at that, then you'll get 12 episodes or whatever, and then based on ratings, you might get the what's called the back 9, which is the rest of the episode order to fill out the 24 episode order that the series has or the season has for the network. By the time Hearts and Minds, by the time they go on winter break, Damon is, from his own account and the accounts of some of the other writers, so stressed out because the incredibly like competitive and boisterous and combustible, explosive environment of the writers' room. He is incredibly stressed out. And when the first set of ratings come in, and it's the biggest show in the world, he was like started suffering panic attacks. He's like, I don't know what I'm doing. JJ's going to make Mission Impossible 3 now. What am I doing with my life?
Right.
So by the time all the ratings for the first half of the season comes out, he is actively rooting against it doing well. He's like, don't give me the back 9. Don't give me the back 9. Let this show end.
Okay. Wow.
So when the ratings come in and they're like, yeah, we won't officially tell you yet, but you're probably going to get it. The story goes, Damon brings on a mentor of his, Carlton Cuse, who this is actually his first, who is a established TV writer at this point, been doing this for a long time. Damon looks up to him. He brings him in and then says, all right, he's going to be one of the staff writers. And this is actually the first episode written by Carlton Cuse, Hearts and Mind, this episode today.
Okay.
Damon comes in and says, I'm leaving the show. And he goes in the writer's room, shakes everyone's hand. There's a lot of emotional pleas and goodbyes. And then nobody can find Damon for, I think the story goes like 4 or 5 days. And during that time, production on a massive TV show has to continue. So they have to start writing, whatever the case may be, this episode, and then they get into special, which originally was supposed to be a Hurley centered flashback episode where it's revealed that he is a amateur hypnotist and is hypnotizing Charlie to figure out the location of Claire, who has been kidnapped.
Oh, I wouldn't have loved that.
But think towards season 2 when Libby hypnotizes Claire to get her memories back. So they end up using that storyline. But
Wow, okay.
Damon comes back and is like, "What the fuck is going on?" And it's like, yeah, these kind of terrible, these not terrible, but like these below par episodes are a result of a rudderless writer's room. And when he comes back, like half of the of the core writing staff quits or is fired. So now it's a much smaller, more contained, very directional story with under the leadership of Damon and Carlton, as opposed to where it was before, where it was just it was like 16 people all trying to yell over each other.
Yeah.
And that's how we end up eventually getting to season 3, where they're like, "Please let us end the show," and ABC's like, "You can end it in 10," and they're like, "Fuck, we'll end it in 6."
I'm curious. Did JJ know Damon?
Wow. Oh, go ahead. No, go ahead.
Did JJ know Damon left for those 3 days?
Yeah. JJ, he was. So at this point, he's on. I actually found out recently that the last time I was on, I said JJ was involved, but not that involved. I found out that he was actually way more involved than I thought.
Oh, really?
In terms of production and stuff, he just wasn't in the writer's room all the time. Where he was instrumental in the casting of Michelle Rodriguez. He is the writer for the season 3 opening episode. And then he just goes around doing a lot of that stuff. And he's way more involved. I think there's no official word on what Damon did in that time.
Okay.
Some people think.
See, I always heard a completely different story.
Oh yeah. What do you?
I always heard that they were told they can't make the last season, and that's why the last season was kind of fumbled at the end.
No, man. ABC wanted the original plan for Lost was 5 seasons, but ABC was like, "This is the biggest thing in the world. You're never ending the show." Kind of like what happened with The Walking Dead. But then eventually Damon and Carlton are like, "Let us." They cite the Locke is a Pot Farmer episode of season 3 and Stranger in a Strange Land, the Jack's Tattoo episodes.
Yeah.
Those are the episodes where they go to ABC and say, "This is the quality of show we're going to continue to do. Let us end the show." And ABC says, "Okay, you can end it after 10 seasons." And then eventually through negotiations, they get it down to 6.
So why didn't ABC just bring in new writers? Like, why wouldn't they just bring in?
You can't. It's very difficult to fire like showrunners, creators. Like that has a lot of.
Wow.
Like it's between contracts, creator. It's hard to do all that stuff. And like it or not, the creative juices of Damon Lindelof and Carlton Cuse were this first season of Lost is some of the best television out there.
Yeah.
I agree.
So it's fantastic. So I think just an overhaul of leadership could have led to completely.
No, it's no guarantee it would have worked, but I mean, if you want to keep the show going, that's what I was saying.
Yeah, I think it's very brave that they ended it, but.
But I just can't get over how they used that tattoo episode as a marketing tool. And that's why it's not so good.
Funny.
That's also why season 3 is the last season to heavily feature flashbacks. Because they were like, we're out of stuff to say about flashback with these characters. You want us to do 10 years of flashbacks with these people? We don't have anything
Yeah,
else to say.
Yeah, see, I thought that was only going to be maybe the first, maybe second season, because I thought they were doing that more as a, instead of literally telling the story from the beginning and all these people how they got there, this was a way to do it sort of in the show. But once you got to know the characters, I thought they were going to stop. Anyway, I always just kind of felt that way watching.
Yeah.
But
Sorry.
to be honest, I like the flash forwards, and I know it's unpopular. I love the flash sideways. I know it's unpopular, but I love that last season.
I am indifferent towards the Flash sideways, and I also really do like a lot. I think one of the best episodes in the whole show is in season 6 in Abiturno, the Richard Alpert Flash episode.
Great
I think there's
episode.
some really great stuff in season 6. I think it was just they'd ridden themselves into some creative holes at that point. But guys, we're talking about season 1, episode 13. You still got 100 episodes until season 6.
Yeah.
I know.
I mean, look, I like the last season. I don't like the last 2 episodes. I don't.
Oof, losing some respect for you.
No, it's not that I'm like, oh, I hate the show because of it or anything like that, or it ruined the show for me or anything like that. I didn't particularly like the way it ended, but again, it's not, it's not for me to call. It's just,
That's fair. But what did you think about Hearts and Minds this episode?
Yeah, sure.
Sorry, I'm a producer on the other show. I got to keep the ball rolling.
No, it's a good episode.
Yeah.
One in average
I think
episode.
Boone's a good person too. He just gets pushed a lot. He gets pushed to the point where he's trying to make decisions, and he makes a couple bad decisions, obviously, but I think he's trying to do the right thing.
Remember when he stole the water?
Yeah.
That's fair. That is fair. Again, I don't. Other than Hurley and Rose, I don't think there's a good person on the island overall.
Remember, but at the same time, I feel bad for Boone because Shannon takes advantage of him.
She does.
In all the flashbacks.
Yeah.
She played him like a fiddle.
Even the last one where he gets what he wants, if you want to say it that way, she's still manipulating him. She's absolutely manipulating him in that moment.
Yeah.
So,
the implications that Shannon has done the play where she pretends to be in an abusive relationship.
Yeah.
And then Boone comes and pays money to have them leave, which I gotta say, friggin' Brian, just what a dick. It's like, no, $25,000. I would never for less than 50.
Yeah, I know, right?
Like,
right?
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Also, what did
He's
Lost Rider? Which Lost Rider had something against Brian? Because Walt's stepdad is also named Brian, and I also think Claire's baby daddy is named Brian.
Yeah. I guess that name brings out a lot of
really hated
bad
Family
people. Guy. Yeah, they really hate Family Guy.
At the time. I don't know. Yeah, it's funny.
But it does suck for Boone that. But it's also clear he's been pining after his stepsister for years.
Oh yeah.
Even to like the first flashback you see where he's playing tennis with a taller blonde woman, and it's like, oof, that just looks like Shannon.
Well, because you think about it, everybody at the end of the show, spoiler alert, everybody's in the church. Everybody has some money. Except for Boone. Boone's there. He has no money.
Here's Shannon.
Shannon has Saeed.
Yeah. And we already talked about that. That should have been Saeed and
Nadia.
Nadia. That would have solved that problem right there. Then you have Boone and Shannon.
Man, Shannon was more important to Saeed than Nadia was on the island.
Obviously.
Yeah, on the island, and we don't need to relitigate that or the finale
No.
of
No, yeah.
series finale. But this episode, I gotta say, this was also behind the scenes stuff. The first episode, and this may be because Damon was nowhere to be found. This was the first episode to shoot short, where they were like 7 minutes short of the runtime they needed to get, and that's why you get all those Saeed like check-in moments where he talks to Locke and then he talks to John, and then he talks to Jack. All those like little check-in moments were just like,
Hurley.
oh, Naveen Andrews, you're not doing anything right now. Come play with the compass.
True.
What did you think about Saeed in this one? Did you? I think you already alluded to it, but yeah, he didn't have that much to do, right?
Saeed is one of my favorite, like maybe my favorite character on the entire show. So I'll take any Saeed, and I love the interaction he has with Locke, where Locke comes in and they talk about being a weebelo. He's like, "What's a weebelo?"
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Or when Locke's like, "And Boone's hunting," and Saeed's like, "Hunting alone." And I just love sassy Saeed. Shannon's really bringing out this gossip in him that I really like.
Yeah.
I didn't love he always suspicious of everybody. And he didn't. Yeah, a weird trust issue, doesn't he?
He was a torturer. Of course, he's gonna have some trust
Yeah,
issues.
right. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I think that's a given with his profession. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I really loved Saeed in this episode. I also really some of the things to talk positively about it. I really do like that we're getting back to the hatch, because we didn't have any hatch nonsense in the last episode.
Yeah.
So I really enjoy that we're continuing that issue, and also we're seeding out in like the Saeed little conversation with with Jack, I think, where he talks about the electromagnetism.
Right.
Because at this point they have decided there's a man down there. He has to push the button every 108 minutes or the world ends.
So they have at least gotten that far ahead at this point.
Yeah, you guys talked about this a little bit last week, where you asked, I think Ben asked, did they have a plan? And at least in the first season, the rule was in the writer's room, we can't have something on the show unless we know the answer. Like JJ wanted to show the hatch as the last shot in the pilot, where it'd be like Charlie going, "Where are we?" And then it would like do like a pan in on this mysterious bunker out in the woods. But they were like, "We don't know what's in there, so we can't put it in." And then the story always goes that Damon busts into the writer's room, hair still wet from the shower he had been taking earlier that day. And it's like, there's a man in the hatch. He has to push a button every 108 minutes or the world explodes. And then they put it in. And then they put the hatch in. All the best cowboys have daddy issues.
Okay, so I have one question then. If they did have a plan, how far in advance did they know about the numbers?
I don't know. That they don't. So I think the numbers are a big part of like the ARG and stuff that goes on in season 2, and they know, or.
Well, the reason I ask is because even in the last episode with Claire, he says at that point, this is flight 815. It has to be this flight. So I feel like they at least knew those numbers were going to be
that was already
special.
I think the story goes that they came up with the numbers based on numbers that had already been in the show. Like
so
Ray Mullen. Like Ray Mullen was going to turn Caden in Tabula Rasa for $23,000, and that's how they pulled the number 23.
Gotcha.
And then 815 obviously,
Sure.
and then just other stuff like that.
Okay.
And
And
then
that's what I say. It makes sense because I just wasn't, like I said, I just wasn't sure if they had actually planned it that way or if they just, like you said, used what they had already had in the show and just said, "Oh, let's make this important. Let's make this important."
yeah, no, I think the numbers
So
are something. And in the episode numbers, if you'll have me back, I can talk a little bit more about that. But the hatch in this episode, I think all they know about the hatch is there's a guy down there pushing a button into a computer.
sure.
But the hatch. Sorry, Ben, go ahead.
And that number and that computer very important in season 2.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Very, very important. I will say, this episode does also reinforce and maybe introduce because one of my favorite things about John Locke, where John, the first time we come out to the hatch, Boone and John are like just sitting there staring at it.
I was just getting ready to bring this scene up.
And then Locke has this great monologue about Da Vinci and how, or not Da Vinci,
Michelangelo.
About Michelangelo and how, he would come in for 6 months and just stare at the marble. And people would ask him, "What are you doing?" "We're working." It's like, "Oh yeah, you're thinking with your brain. You're not thinking with your hands yet." And like he gets this great monologue that shows John Locke is just this guy of so much knowledge, and we saw that a little bit in White Rabbit, where he talks about the double amputee who made it up to the summit of Mount Everest. Yeah. My favorite thing about John Locke that gets brought into this episode is that story he tells us about Da Vinci, totally fake.
What do you mean by that?
Famously, the
the way that David was actually carved, it's
it
well
was
known.
Done under budget and under time.
Yeah.
The marble was not like this great piece of granite that had never been touched before. It was a broken piece of marble from some other thing.
Yeah, that's why if you look at David, he's actually not perfectly straight. Yeah. The body isn't perfectly straight because of the way the marble had to be set back together.
Yeah.
It's well documented.
But the best thing about this is because of the popularity of Lost, so many people have taken this as gospel that on several official forums, when you look up like Statue of David carving, there'll be this story of John Locke that John Locke tells. But all the accountings of this story come after this episode.
Sure.
And it's also like the stuff about like Michelangelo's father beating him. It's like, no, Michelangelo's dad was super proud. It was like he didn't get him at first, but then once he saw his paintings, he was like, no, this is what you need to do. You're great. I support you. And I love that about Locke, where he just will say he seems like this guy who knows so much, but then if anyone was to call bullshit on him, every argument he ever makes would just completely disintegrate.
You know what? I would have loved a scene of that in the show. I think that would add so much. Well, it would have added so much to his character, I think. Maybe not.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of times that Locke is just purely full of crap.
One of maybe John Locke's second catchphrase after "Don't tell me what I can't do" is in season 2, where he looks at Mr. Echo and just says, "I was wrong."
Yeah.
And
that is haunting. That scene is haunting.
Yeah.
But it's I really love that scene, and then you get all the great Boone being like, "You serious? Come on."
I love sort of what ties into this scene is the way when he's asking him about what he does. And was it the last episode? Yeah, it was the last episode when he.
Oh yeah, that was in All the Best Cowboys Have Daddy Issues.
Yeah, but
when they're looking
just
for
that
Sawyer.
scene too, it ties into this episode a little bit with just their interaction together,
Mhm.
because he's just like, there's no way you were a, a manager of box. Like, come on,
Box company.
like
Yeah,
get
they
the
make boxes.
But I like that the way that knowing that, and then this episode, that, yeah, their dynamic is really fun in the beginning, but then again, it turns very crazy very quick.
Yes.
Correct me if I'm wrong. No one ever found out Locke couldn't walk before the island, right?
Rose knows.
I was gonna say, I thought there was a couple people.
He tells Boone when they're looking for the Beechcraft, and he's like,
Yeah,
I couldn't walk before this. That was crazy. He tells Sawyer when he takes him to see Anthony Cooper. And then the Oceanic Six all find out, but off island. Because
Right.
Locke wheels himself around.
all right, yeah,
Well,
yeah, yeah.
but he explained that by he broke his neck when he got back to the mainland.
Oh, maybe. But so at least Rose at this point knows. I think he also tells Jack in the same scene where he tells Jack that he's gonna have to lie about about the island to protect it.
Okay.
Right before he leaves. I think he tells Jack then. So Rose, Boone, Sawyer, Jack. I think those are the four that he tells.
And on a similar topic, really only tells one or two people he has money, but nobody believes him, including Sawyer, right?
Yeah, he tells Charlie in numbers, and Charlie doesn't believe him. It's hard to know if he tells Walt because he keeps losing all the money to him. And there's that, I forget what episode it's in, where Walt's like, you owe me $30,000. Which I'm like, I
I'm
hope he
gonna
got
go
that
in.
money.
Yeah.
Oh no, he doesn't tell Sawyer, but Sawyer reads it on a letter from the plotter. He's
Oh, who the hell is Hugo? And why does he have $30 million? That's right. Charlie, I think, tells a couple people where he's like, oh, this one's loaded.
yeah, but nobody believes it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's definitely
So-
true.
Yeah, there's a couple of secrets out there that people that are actually hidden. Unlike some people have all their secrets out there, other people only a few people.
I like
Yeah,
that.
well-
I like that they were able to keep it from everybody in the show. I mean, in the show.
The one secret I really would have kept quiet was Kate was wanted for murderer. That didn't even come out, I feel.
Well, she yelled at Jack in the last episode. It's the man I killed. It belonged to him. Oh, that stupid little plane that I hate so much. Fuck that.
I fucking hate.
I don't know. I would kind of want to know if I was on an abandoned island with a murderer. I would kind of want to know that information.
Hey man, tabula rasa. You know, whatever happened happened.
I fucking hate that plane.
That plane
I
sucks so
fucking
much.
hate.
I'm gonna
I
camp a
would-
mile that way just so y'all know where I'm at.
There's so many murderers. Like, there's so many killers in the ocean.
Well, yeah, no, that's
people.
yeah.
But to get back to like this episode, another thing what did you guys think about Boone's excellent trippy adventure?
Great.
Yeah, I mean, obviously he thought it was real, which is fun because
Yeah.
in that moment, obviously, I know that, but in the moment, you're thinking, "Holy crap, are they really going to kill her off like this? Like, you know what I mean? Like, are they
So
really
did you
going to
ever
do this
buy
right
it?
now?"
Did you believe it that Shannon might be dead?
Well, not watching this time, but like I said, probably when I
Obviously.
first watched it. That's what I mean. No, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
like,
the first time I
you're-
watched it, I was like, yeah, he's
That's what
dead.
I'm saying. Are you? Yeah, but I think like John got exactly what he wanted out of it. John got exactly what he wanted out of it,
Yeah.
which is ultimately what they needed for that storyline. So
I will say this. It might be controversial. I prefer Shannon's death here rather than her death in season 2.
Mm,
Oh
well,
no,
that's fair.
I can't get on that raft with you, Ben. I'm sorry.
Really?
Really?
Okay. Okay.
I love and I kind of love the regression of Saeed that comes out of that. And there's the like
Hmm.
that whole
That's
episode
fair.
with
Yeah.
the and just like the random tragedy of Shannon dying there, I think is really a shock to the system. Um, I think if she died here, I don't think they can get away with the emotional hit of killing Boone 7 episodes from now. I think it is.
Yeah.
When's Do
Well,
No
yeah.
Harm? Episode 20, I think. 21.
But
Is
does it? So
it,
does this also? Wow. Go ahead. Go ahead, Ben. Go ahead, Ben. Sorry.
in the one good guy in the same one Aaron is born. Am I
Yep.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's like it's in the 20s. I think. Do No Harm.
Yeah.
Or wait, it might be The Cost of Living, or that might. Oh,
Yeah, that sounds right. The cost
no,
of living.
I think
And
actually that's the episode Echo dies. Spoilers.
Oh, that's my guy. I love Echo.
Echo's so good. Um,
I love Echo.
but yeah, I think if Shannon dies here, you can't get away with the Boone death, and it wouldn't mean as much because it's
that's
like.
fair.
Yeah.
But I will say
But
I
doesn't
went
it
back.
also help Saeed's character? Because, like you said, if this is the last time, if this is the end of his life and he's stuck on this island, at this point where he is with Nadia, he sort of has earned this relationship.
Yeah, I would. Fair.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If this really is his life at this point, he's stuck on this island, he can't get off, he's never going to get back,
I
then he's kind of earned this relationship.
so speaking of like the Saeed and Shannon stuff, I think that's also why this lump of episodes gets so maligned. Because last episode we have a lot of Shannon and Saeed content, which has one of my favorite lines in it, which I commented about. And I think I talked to you about, Ben, back when we talked Lost way back in the day, where Shannon's telling the story of that kid she babysat in France. And she's like, oh, there was this guy. And Saeed just puts his whole face into his hand and is like, this guy. I love that line reading from him so much. And I love this episode where he shows up with the box of shoes and it's like, since I have no need for them, here you go. I would have gift wrapped them if I could.
See, I love them together. Why don't you
I
guys
love
share
them
this
together.
up? Why don't
I
you
really
share
do.
this?
No, if he wants to hook up, that's fine. But Nadia, Ben, on the back of Nadia's picture, it says, "Find me in this life or the next."
But,
They
but,
get
at this time he thinks she's dead.
Yeah,
no. At
thinks,
this point, he knows she's alive.
oh no,
He makes
yeah.
her-
At this point, but at this point, he thinks he's dead. I think, or
No.
possibly he's not getting off. There's a possibility he's not getting off the island.
So he wanted to have it kicked into two.
That's
What
why I
do you
said
have-
for him,
yeah.
it's also kind of earned. That's what I meant by that is
Yeah,
from his perspective, this might literally be his last days. So
and
he's gonna
I
take
will
advantage of it.
say, it's very funny. I went back and I looked at Dark UFO, which was an old message board for Lost stuff, one of the big spoiler boards from way back in the day, to see like what people were saying around this time.
Sure.
And apparently, in the lead up to the second half of the back half of the season after the winter break, the marketing all was a major character will die. So the first time you watched it, they probably wanted you to think that it was Shannon. That was the major character that was
Sure.
going to die. But I will say, I was never fooled by it for a
Oh
second.
really?
But,
Okay.
but here's
I was
the-
like, they're not going to kill Shannon off. We haven't had a flashback for her yet.
But here's the thing. Would Boone and Shannon be the two would be considered main two characters of the show at this point?
Yeah, they're like core cast members. Like they're in every episode.
Oh,
We
sure.
know they're no Scott and Steve, who even the writers killed the wrong one by accident.
Wait, what?
Sorry, it hasn't happened yet. It hasn't happened yet, but
No,
so
yeah, I know who you're
in
talking about.
in the Moth, the cave-in episode is the first time we ever meet Scott and Steve. And
Right.
the actors, Michael goes, Scott, come here. He's like, I'm Steve. That's Scott. And the writers couldn't even keep track which one was because then you see in Raised by Another, I think, Hurley's like, I'm in the jungle with Scott and Steve. And I got to thinking, who the hell are Scott and Steve? And then eventually in Homecoming, I think the episode is, they Ethan kills Scott, but it's the actor who played Steve that dies.
Sounds about right.
And the actor that plays Scott continues to be on the show, but now he's playing Steve.
Wow.
I didn't love the fact at this time, at this point, you can't follow somewhere on that island.
I don't like to think about that.
Wow. And aren't they the ones that eventually go up to Jack and is like, there's other people on the island, right? Isn't it one of them that says that to him?
Yeah, I think, yeah.
No,
Or
that's
there's
Locke.
other people in the group. In the group, I mean, like because
Oh.
he's like, you're
Yes.
leaving us out, like this other part of us
Well,
out.
at that point, Jack's captured and they go to Locke. I didn't say that.
Is that who it is? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But-
oh, that's right, because he gives a big speech. Yeah, right.
Mm.
Yeah.
But
I
back to
remember
this
that
episode,
now.
I would say Boone and Shannon
Sorry,
are
yeah.
definitely main characters.
Okay.
At least like above supporting. Like they get their name in the opening credits every time, right? So like Meg
Yeah,
Reyes
they're
and
not-
Summerholder.
Yeah, higher than,
I think they're definitely part of the main group of characters.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
And,
main
like,
core. Yeah.
They're like a step below Claire, but a step above someone like Rose, who's only in every 4 episodes.
Sure.
I would
That makes sense.
put them in the same category as the Quans, personally.
As a Quan lover, that's offensive to me.
Ooh.
Yeah, I would say that Quans are definitely more important than.
Yeah, like Sun's
And,
in every all the
yeah.
time.
Okay, alright.
Sun's like a nurse to
And
Jack.
Jin
at this
definitely
point.
becomes more important later too, for
Mhm.
sure. So
I love Leader Jin. We'll get
Oh, yeah.
there. I love Jin in season 3. Or say it right
I
now.
told you one of
love-
my favorite storylines is the back in time when him, Sawyer, and when they go back to. That's one of my favorite.
Oh, yeah.
I just love them
Love
three
Sawyer.
together is great. Like
I love, if we're just talking favorite Jin shout out moments, I love in season 3 where Jin just becomes like one of the hangout guys, and he
Mhm.
he helps fix the van, and
Yeah.
he goes on the camping trip.
Yep.
And tells a spooky story in Korean, and only
Yep.
Hurley gets scared.
Yeah.
But back to this episode. Another thing that I found looking back at the Dark UFO stuff about this episode, when Shannon gets presented with the shoes from Saeed, she says, "I think this island is actually making my feet swell, and I've gone up a size." And then that coupled with the Rose line, where Rose talks about her husband's fingers swelling, so she always has to wear his wedding ring, led people to believe that the island was not an island. It was actually way up in the sky.
Oh.
That would have been
Okay.
interesting.
No, it
Would have made
that-
no sense, but it would have been
Yeah.
interesting.
As like they didn't crash on the island, they just like ran into a wall.
Then when we meet Bernard, he's just got like balloon hands.
Oh my god.
Art is an alien. Art is an alien from the planet Jupiter.
Yeah.
This guy is a human.
That's
Um,
funny.
So I have some questions for you guys.
All right.
So Boone goes on this trippy case after he's like, Locke, let's bring Shannon in. And Locke's like, you really want to do that? You really want to do that? I crack your skull and put some weird paste on your head.
But he was already planning that, right?
I don't know. Like he was making the
Because
paste
he's
during
making
the
the paste.
Michelangelo.
Yes, I mean he was either going to shove it down his throat or he was going to put it in the wound. I mean, I
Yeah,
kind of feel like it was for the wound though.
but I've always wondered: is Boone's hallucination a paste-based thing where then we have to ask ourselves, how did Locke make an acid paste, or is
Well,
this a smoke monster thing? And I've always been not confused, but I've always been curious about what is the reason behind Boone's journey.
Well, I've always thought the moment Locke got on to the island, not only can he walk again, but he got some, I don't want to say superpowers, but he got some connection to Jacob. And I think through Jacob, Locke was able to will good to have this trip.
Okay.
all right.
There's a theory I have. I don't know
Yeah.
if it's
All right, I
right or
got you.
wrong.
Yeah.
So I've always not been sure about it, but I've always interpreted this as the smoke monster fucking with Boone, because like he can't kill the candidates, but he can make them do some crazy shit.
Yeah.
And
That's a fair one.
it's like Locke. I think Locke, the extent of Locke's test was the rope thing, and then everything else we see with Shannon and the smoke monster is similar to what we see Mr. Echo dealing with when he's chasing after his brother.
Wait a minute. With Locke Captain Page himself in season 3, I believe, he had the same trip kind of thing.
Well, he had a very different trip. Like he was mute and he was in the. I think at that point he is communing with Jacob.
Okay.
I will say this though, there is a very unfun answer to this.
Why you gotta be like that, man?
Yeah,
I'm
why do you have to
sorry.
bring...
No, it's actually fun, but it's not fun for the show. But I think those are for the show. I think those are probably the more accurate answers.
Okay, what's your answer?
Well, just in nature alone, there's about 15% of all like plants and things like that have hallucinogenic properties. So it would be very easy to find something that could be hallucinogenic.
I don't know, man.
So it could be either way.
I was a Cub Scout back in the day.
Why do you bring logic into this?
Oh,
Why do you bring logic into this great show?
Just because I want it to be Locke like manipulating Boone. I really do. I think that's the more fun answer.
What a gamble! If it is all Locke, though, what a gamble on his part that he's going to see something that encourages.
Well, because he even
him
asked
to
him. He
follow.
says, "What did you see out there?" So I think he knew to some extent that he was going to have some kind of experience.
Yeah, but yeah. I guess at this point he has come face to face with the monster.
Yeah.
And he'll say in season 2, I think, I looked into the heart of the island and it was beautiful. I saw a white light or whatever.
Yeah.
So maybe.
So we are sure at this point though that is still Locke. That's not the monster, right?
Yeah, the monster can only be dead people.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought. Okay.
So what?
And Dave. It can only be dead people and Dave.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, I never understood. David Hewlett's friend, right?
Yeah.
I never understood that character.
The writer of that episode didn't understand who Dave was
That's
either.
true.
She was asked
That's
about
true.
it years later, and she's like, I don't know, maybe.
Wait. We don't have to get into it, but was Dave real or was he not real? Okay.
I don't know, man.
Maybe that's why Hurley was in there. Who knows?
No,
We'll get there when we get there. We'll get there when we get there.
Oh, I have so many questions for you once we get to season 4.
Oh,
When
I
we,
have
when we
questions
get to
all the time.
season 4, I have so many really questions for you.
I know. Yeah, Hurley's got a lot of great stuff. Uh,
Well, that
to
scene
talk
with
about.
him and Jack in this episode is so great. Even though it's quick and it's
Yes.
about the irritable bowels and all that stuff. Even though it's quick and it's weird, it's still great. It's still great.
How did we not? We talked about the Quans, and we didn't even talk about maybe one of my favorite C plots, which is Hurley thinks he has disgraced Jin's family
Yes.
honor, so
Yes.
that's why he can't have any fish.
Yes. And he's just been eating every fruit on the island other than eating any type of fish.
Which,
And
sorry, go ahead.
in the pilot, I know we're talking about this, but in the pilot, I love that scene where Jack is saving that one guy. Who's there? Who says he doesn't like blood. He might
Oh yeah.
think Jack has no faint on me. And then a second later he faints.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a great scene.
Oh yeah.
I,
But
I mean I've said it before. Hurley's my favorite character. He really is.
I think
love
Hurley's
Hurley.
Hurley's one of those characters that when you talk about Lost and you're like, who's your favorite character? So few people say Hurley, and I think the reason for that is it's just such a given. It's like obviously Hurley, but who's the more fun answer to say? Because like he's just so
I love
great.
Hurley so much, man. I have ever since like I said, I watched this show after everybody else watched it,
Mm-hmm.
and I binged it, and just from beginning to end, he's such a great character. He's so hard to not root for.
Yeah, and I love Hurley so much in this episode because all him trying to fish with Jin, and then he steps on a sea urchin, which is
Yeah.
a direct call out to season 4 of Survivor, where someone does that, and they have to pee on his foot.
Oh. Yeah, and yeah, I don't like putting stuff on it was a good scene.
Jin's whole like Jin and Hurley's whole like thing there, where Hurley's like, "You gotta pee on it. You gotta pee on it."
No, 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 no,
No!
no, no.
It's like he's learned one English word,
Dude,
and it's no.
The first time when he points at it and he gets real close and Jin like backs up, it's so funny. Just his reaction is great.
And this is also the start of a long friendship between Hurley and Jin, where Hurley is
sure.
going to have. I think the person who cares the most about the Quan's death, I think, is Hurley.
Yeah.
And every time that Jin shows up, Hurley's just like, "I'm so happy to be here with you," and the two of them really starting here at the end of the episode where Jin gives him a fish, and gives it next season we're gonna have that great scene where Hurley's taking Libby to the secret picnic spot, and they're like, "There's Jin," and once Jin figures out what's going on, maybe the most popular Lost GIF, where Jin just looks and is like, "Yeah."
Yeah.
I love Hurley. And when they get that van working in season 3, I can't help but get teary-eyed for Hurley. And they wanted that van to work so bad, and he finally got it working.
Yeah, Trisha Tanaka is Dead is one of the episodes that is, I think, much maligned, but I love so much. That's the band episode.
But back to this episode.
Ben, that's my line. I'm not even on
Oh,
this show. Would you guys like some behind the scenes information on the Boone and Shannon hookup?
Oh yeah, you did talk about that. Yeah, absolutely.
You teach it. Bring it on.
So
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
So Maggie Grace once she got the script and figured out, oh man, okay, so we're gonna have to make out and stuff. And she apparently was also confused about. It's like, isn't this incest? And that's part of why they put in the no blood relation. That was also for her, being like, you guys are not related. It's totally fine
Yeah.
that you're hooking up. But she's like, ah man, but me and Ian Somerhalder, like, we're both young, we're both hot. It's fine. It's like we're just gonna make out and it's gonna be totally not awkward. So what she did is right before camera rolled, she was stuffing her face with like a bunch of garlicky food and like puffing on this massive Cuban cigar and just like trying to make her breath the worst thing possible so
Oh
that
god.
Ian Somerhalder would like instinctually pull away from her, but then because the scene says no, you have to go closer, he'd come back to her, which is beautifully acted in Boone being like, "This isn't right, but I'm in love with you. This isn't right. Oh, I love you so much, Shannon." And that's partially the reason that scene is so believable is because Maggie Grace smells to all hell, and she did that
Oh my
intentionally to
God.
make the scene more awkward between them.
I was thinking about it because there's a part when she starts like kissing on his neck and stuff, and he goes to turn to kiss her lips, and then he stops and pulls away real quick. And I was
Yeah.
like, now that you say that, that's really funny.
I also like that this will be a running theme for the rest of the season and the series, which is we need to show we're in Australia. So what's right outside their window? The Sydney Opera House.
Oh well, yeah, of course.
Like we'll see in not what's the second Michael, or maybe it's in Exodus where uh, you see Walt trying to run away from Michael in the hotel
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
and stuff. Like that's happening like a floor below this. Uh, Anna Lucia and Christian Shepherd are somewhere in this hotel.
Yeah, wow.
And you'll always see the Sydney Opera House.
I love in that hotel scene that Walt and Michael, Walt is watching TV. Does anybody remember what show he was watching?
Power Rangers.
Yeah.
I'll schmo down Lost right now, guys.
I mean, yeah, I know like we Walt and Michael flashbacks. I'm sorry. They're not good.
That's next week, buddy.
I know, really not looking forward to that one.
And then there's a really and then
There,
season
there
two.
is one little scene we haven't talked about yet.
In this
sorry.
episode or in season 5?
Yeah, no, in this episode. But go ahead. no, go ahead.
Oh,
What is it?
The garden scene. The Jack is a creep. Jack is definitely a creep a little bit, sneaking up on Kate when she's finding seeds. She's like, I can see you.
I think that's
But-
to talk about that scene specifically. I think that's another reason this episode really doesn't work for me. Is they just had this emotional outbreak with each other where Kate's crying about the man she killed and Jack's yelling at her and stuff. And in this episode, they're just like, we're flirting again. Nothing happened. I was like, do you not remember last week?
A little continuity would have been appreciated here, guys. Yeah, I agree.
But I do love the garden stuff where this will be we get the development of the garden, which will be a staple of Lost for until the last season.
Yeah.
The sun takes it over, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Well, Sun starts it, Kate happens upon it.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
Oh,
And we
Kate-
find out, and the big
Sorry.
reveal. I was gonna say the reveal.
Kate
Well,
finds
at least
out
to
that Sun
Kate.
speaks English.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, because she
Which I
says,
gotta say,
Michael already knows.
Yes.
He's the only one.
Yeah, she's talking about, which I gotta say, Sun folded like a house of cards,
Yeah.
because I have definitely been uh, growing up in Canada. I have a lot of friends whose parents English not their first language. Maybe it's French, maybe it's something else. And there's a lot of times where I know they're talking to me and I'm just like, yeah, yeah. Or I'm talking to them and they just smile and laugh along. But I don't assume that they speak English immediately. But when Kate's like, you nodded, that means you understand me. And Son's just like, yes, I do. I do speak English. I'm like, folding like a house of cards, son.
Okay, but to be fair, I think at this point she wanted to get caught by somebody.
She already got caught by Michael. Wait, has that happened yet?
She wanted a
Yeah.
female friend. She wanted somebody to talk to.
No, she says Michael knows.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
yes.
I mean, you imagine her being on the island, only having Michael to talk to.
She's got Jin.
When only having Michael to talk to. I know what I
Yeah.
said.
Yeah, no, I get that. And I think this is a good setup for a couple episodes from now where we will get the big blow up where everyone learns that Sun speaks English. And I think if Kate doesn't know, I don't think we get that.
Yeah.
And Kate and Sun really form a really great friendship throughout the series. And we see coming back to time after time.
I think underreported fact is just like Sun is like best friends with everybody. Where she becomes like the nurse to Jack's doctor. Uh, Hurley visits her in South Korea when she's a part of the Oceanic Six. Her and Kate are really close. She becomes close with Juliet in season 4. Like Sun, just like Sun's like not salt, but Sun's like a little cumin. You put her in there, it's just gonna make everything better.
So let me ask you this. The candidate name, it only says Kwan. And it has to be her, right? It has to be.
No, it's Jin. There's a lot of reasons why it has to be Jin. Everyone other than all the candidates minus Sun travel back in time. And because it's believed that only the candidates have the power to travel. So because Jin is able to go to the past, it is believed that he is the candidate. Also, we know from the episode in season 6 that the reason Kate is no longer a candidate is because she became a mother. Sun also becomes a mother. So you got to imagine
I forgot about that.
She also is uncandicized. So it's Jin. Like Jin is the candidate. I think Sun's the better choice.
Jin might be the candidate, but Sun is the better choice.
I think tag team Jin and Sun is the best choice if you're gonna pick a Quan.
Sure.
But Sun is. But yeah, I think Jin is the candidate. But
you can't have a Voltron Jacob though.
Yeah, the creators have never come out and said, yeah, but like Sun's the Jacob and Jin's the Richard.
You know what I would have loved to see? I would have loved to see Hurley and Jacob at the start and Richard. That would have been interesting.
Yeah.
But we're way
ahead.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, oh yeah.
We're talking candidates. We don't even know about.
What is a candidate? What are you talking about?
We need to meet Henry Kill. We need to meet Henry Kill next season.
Yeah.
One of my favorite scenes in that season is Henry Kill having breakfast at the table.
Milk.
Yeah. Oh. Oh, the one class acting right there.
Season 2 is the season of guest stars that they realized, oh wow, this guy is way better. We need to give them more stuff. That happened with Desmond, and that happened with Ben.
Two of my favorite characters in the
Yeah.
show. My
Desmond
number one and my number two.
Desmond was only supposed to be in the first 3 episodes and then never show up again. And then Ben was only supposed to be in 4 episodes, and then they were like, "No, this guy's awesome. He's the leader of the others, actually."
Oh, I want to say something. I'm going to say it until off camera, man. I want to say something so bad.
Yeah.
Why did I want to say Yeah, they were an okay episode. It's not my favorite, but it wasn't the worst one I got.
Yeah, it's not the greatest episode, but it's not horrible. It's not bad.
What I commented this last week. I think this is the weakest stretch in season 1.
Yeah.
But even that is a testament. Where like, if I'm ranking this, I don't think there's a single. Maybe last week. I really don't like whatever the case may be, but this is still like this is a base hit. This is like a 6 out of 10. This is a totally fine episode of Lost, with a lot of stuff I don't like. And something I've never thought about. And I don't know if you're trying to wrap up the show, Ben, but just something I thought about now. And my job is to make the show.
Yeah, please, go ahead.
That's why you bring me on, right?
Yeah, that's why, exactly. That's why we bring you on.
But so you about 45 minutes ago said Boone and Shannon were the Jamie and Cersei before Jamie and Cersei.
Yeah, right. I stand by that.
But this was 2005 though. Not when did Game of Thrones start? 2011.
I wanted it that on 2015.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
I mean, look,
Oh no, I was definitely in high school when Game of Thrones started. So 2011, 2012, somewhere in there. So, but what do you think part of the reason, I know the main reason they end up killing off Boone and Shannon is we can't do multiple flashbacks for these characters because they're too young. Do you think, though, part of the reason they kill Boone off is in 2004 we're less accepting of to watch something like that, something this controversial happen on our TV screens, where they kill off Boone so they don't have to constantly see and be like, that's the sister fucker.
Do I think that's the reason they killed him off?
I think just one of the factors why they.
I think it's possible for sure. Yeah, that's part of it.
Hold on, I'm not curious about.
Definitely would say that's possible.
They killed him off in 2005, you said, right?
Yeah, because this last week was the first episode of after the New Year's, Christmas, winter break, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
What a bet.
I think I'm just trying to remember something. Hold on. Yeah, I mean, maybe I think going to say they killed him off for Vampire Diaries, but that's not for another. That's not for another 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, no, you'll notice a quick drop off of cameo Boone appearances once Vampire Diaries starts.
Right, because I know he had Smallville right before this, and I think that's why they got rid of him on that for this.
Bought a house. Bought a house in Hawaii.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah, maybe they kill him off because we weren't ready for that brother and sister dynamic.
Yeah, kill off the controversial. I think in season 1, when you're saying a major character will die, I think he becomes the easy choice because of his controversial storylines.
Sure.
And now, if that came out today, would that still be controversial?
No, because we have House of the Dragon,
right,
where everyone's yelling,
Yeah.
"Why didn't you marry the baby.
Why aren't you sleeping with your sister, man? What is wrong with you?
All of this could have been
What the hell is
avoided.
going on?
Viserys,
This
all this could
family
have
has
been
gone to
avoided
hell
if you
since you were
married the
born.
child.
You're not sleeping with your sister. You won't ride a dragon. I just can't deal with this.
Come on. So I think if Lost happened now, like, yeah, everyone would be fine with it.
Everybody would be
Not fine.
related. Everybody would be related. Everybody, Jack
Yeah.
and Claire and everybody would be related somehow.
And that is...
Yeah,
Oh!
if Lost aired now, two things would be different. One, they would all be related, and two, it would be a streaming show. On like Netflix
And
or
three, there would be a
Amazon.
lot. There would have been a lot more hookups.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry. One big thing that happens in the flashbacks in this episode that we haven't talked about, and I know we're running long, so I won't. What did you think? This is the first time we've had someone from the island interact in someone else's flashback, where we see Sawyer in Boone's flashback.
And he gets a good look at him
Yeah, but
because
are
he's
you
making
gonna-
a a pretty big ruckus, and I mean he's like staring at him for a second, like what the hell?
I might have blocked that out. Is this the episode where she tells the airport security Iraq prisoners in the
That's
terminals?
Exodus.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
That's
that wasn't
Exodus,
this
no.
one, man. That wasn't this one.
Yeah, no. This Sawyer is getting pulled in after headbutting the honorable
In the police
Warren
station,
Truss.
yeah. Yeah.
Which I get.
I'm really okay with that. I know like that bit I've been talking about in Exodus.
Yeah.
That feels also wrong to me.
It was 2000. It was 2004, man. It was a different time.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. You don't do
Although
that.
although you know what,
No.
although you know what, I don't understand how this was so controversial back then. We had Luke and Leia in '77, and so.
But the difference was they weren't like,
Yeah.
we're brother and sister, let's kiss. We found out after
Oh well, that's
that.
fair. No, well, that's definitely fair. Yeah, definitely wasn't that.
Yeah. And I don't know, have they... Yeah. It's like, these are clearly, they know their brother and sister and they're hooking up.
I think it's kind of worse
Yeah.
actually because they find out afterwards, and it's kind of like, well, wait a minute, what the hell?
But they
was
only
that then?
kissed. Boone and Shannon
Oh,
did
yeah,
a lot
yeah.
more.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And they didn't really
That's
kiss. She kissed him on the cheek.
I don't
Yeah,
know,
well,
man. Luke has
yeah.
that.
right. Oh, he definitely
Yeah.
relishes in it. Oh, he
Yeah.
definitely relishes in it. Yeah.
Well, yeah, because in his mind, he won. That sounds wrong, never mind.
She's literally doing the only really woman thing. I say that in very, very
Careful.
quotes. But no. What I mean is, she's using Luke to get Han jealous,
Yeah.
which is Leia's a very tough woman. She doesn't do stuff like that usually. That's the one time where she sort of lets her guard down and uses her, her feminine side to manipulate Han. So I know it sounds. I don't mean it the way it sounds. I'm sorry. It's coming out
No,
wrong.
no, no.
I think you know what I mean. I think you know what I mean.
No, I'd like you to keep taking this hole.
Sure. I got my shovel. It's okay. Sorry, I didn't mean it the way it sounded.
We got you. We got you. Yo, any other choosing behind the scene nuggets you can give us, Dave?
So most of it just comes down to the. So this was the first episode Carlton Cuse ever wrote on, or sorry, this was his first writing credit. He came in, I think, during Raised by Another was when he became a staff writer, and then this was the first episode he actually wrote by himself, where he unofficially kind of becomes the co-showrunner going forward. But if you were to say, so what was your first episode? Oh, it was the one where Boone and Shannon hook up. Not the best start to a resume.
Yeah.
Like, oh, and I wrote that specifically. I wrote that
specifically.
That was
because
my
Damon
addition,
was
just so
nowhere
you
to
know.
be found. Let's see. We talked about the Shannon stuff. We talked about people thought that the island was up in the sky.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's a fun one.
yeah, I like that one a lot more than the island is a snow globe, which season 2
Because
revealed.
technically the island can move, so why can't it be in the sky? That's what I want to know. Why can't it be in the sky?
I don't know, man. I gotta go back and I gotta see the lighthouse. I gotta see that Dharma station and be like, does it go up? Is it 3-dimensional or is it just the pendulum swinging?
How many?
I think
I
it's
mean,
just
no,
the
no,
pendulum swinging.
yeah.
Yeah, well, I wasn't sure if like the
think.
thing came up. I gotta go back. That
Right, yeah, no, I have to see
my
it again.
least
Yeah.
favorite Dharma station, the lighthouse.
What's your favorite? Before we let you go, what's your favorite?
Well, it's hard not to say the Swan for we just get a lot of time in the Swan, but I've always been partial to the
Yeah.
Flame. I really like that one.
I like the Looking Glass.
Looking Glass is fun. Looking Glass is fun.
What's the one they find underneath the plane?
Oh, don't tell me. Don't tell me. Don't tell me.
Yeah,
Don't tell me.
Pelican? No,
No, the Pearl.
It's Pearl. I like that one just because literally people were just there to write down what other people were doing in other hatches, and then they were just shooting them into the middle of the woods. The notes.
Well, we'll get to I'll come back later to
great.
talk about the Dharma Station breakdown, but I like to think that they were being picked up for a while, but then the purge happened.
Oh, at some point, probably. Yeah, right.
Because
That's a big pile. That is a huge pile, though. That's there. It's
actually,
a huge pile.
Everyone in the Dharma Initiative died. Who would have been in the Pearl?
It's just so. I love it even more because it's such a Dharma Initiative thing now. Just to seriously just mess with people, like make them think they have the most important job in the world, and it literally means nothing. Just
maybe
nothing.
Ben's favorite pastime was just going to the Pearl and just sending one of those notebooks up a pneumatic tube.
What if that's
that man? I thought you were talking about me for a second. Like,
what if that's like I'm gonna send you to Antarctica, like the lost version of like I'm sending you to like
I think
you know how in the military when they like resend people to Antarctica, like that's where they send people in Lost is the Pearl.
I think that's the Looking Glass. Like you're underwater, just the two of you.
Too. Yeah, that's true. That is true.
And then
so weird.
We have to bring you on for more episodes because I have so many questions.
Hey man,
oh dude,
stop shooting this show after I have another show and at 10 o'clock at night for me. I'll come on every day.
Don't tempt me. Anyway, let's wrap this sucker up. Dave, you're a guest? Tell everyone where they can find you, my man.
You can find me over at the Northern Entertainment group channel over on YouTube. Follow us at Group of the North on Twitter. Personally, you can follow me at Leaves Me Alone on Twitter, but that's a terrible follow, so just follow the first thing I told you to follow. And dropping by here to talk Lost with these fine gentlemen every opportunity they get that I have. But, you can only take so many long shows like this before it's like, Dave, we're sending you down to this Swan. You got to push the buttons. We don't want to deal with you anymore.
Oh,
it's okay because at least with you it stays on Lost in some way, shape, or form. But it's just me and him. We talk about Star Wars and we just start going off on all kinds of tangents about things.
Kind of like how we talked about Leia's sexuality for a while.
For a while, yeah. See, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. It gets brought in somehow, some way, every time.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Also, can I change my my answer of my favorite Dharma station?
Yeah.
Oh,
I love the Tempest because it's so vague as to what does it do. Does it make power? Does it just make gas that kills everybody? Who knows?
Right.
Which one is on Tempest?
That's in the episode The Other Woman, where in season 4.
Right.
It's I think it's a power station, but it's also a power station that makes deadly gas that can kill everyone on the island. It's like those two things don't seem like they're the same thing. Like maybe you have different stations for that. Also, Dharma, why were you making deadly gas to kill everyone? And why wasn't that happening at the Arrow, the fighting station? Sorry, we're in plugs.
Well,
None.
why did Jacob leave them alone for so long too? Why did he just let them kind of do what the
Because
hell they
Jacob,
wanted on the island?
because Jacob doesn't get involved.
Well, that's fair. Yeah, that's fair.
Done.
Yes,
My
sir.
wingman, my co-pilot, my maverick. Tell everyone where they can find you.
Absolutely, man. You guys can find me on Twitter at Jedi Master Tuck. You can also find me here every Monday for Fellowship of Geekdom, Tuesday Geekdom Initiative, Wednesday Jedi Academy, and Sunday Geekdom Uncut. You can also find me in the Facebook group, guys. And please like and subscribe to the channel. We are still trying to build up. And
We're
yeah,
at 124 now. We're at 124.
I saw that. Yeah, no, I saw.
I'm looking at 126 right now for you
Are
guys.
you?
Seriously?
Nice. Even better.
Yeah.
Even
Nice.
better, man. We'd really like to get to 150 guys before New Year's, man. That would be awesome if you guys could help us out. That would be awesome.
And we might be having a New Year's Eve punishment, so keep an eye out for that.
Yeah.
And you guys can find me at my right here on this channel, Monday through Tuesday, Sunday on Geekdom Uncut. You can also find me on Dave's channel every Tuesday on Rewind That Tape and every Saturday morning on the Northern Countdown. I think that's everything, right? Yes?
Well,
Maybe?
are you gonna tease upcoming thing that's happening, or is
Right.
that gonna be a
On
surprise?
Friday, keep an eye out on this channel. Me, Dave here, and a few other people. We have something special coming up. We'll tell you about it coming up. Yeah, and I am punchy right now, guys. Have a good week. Son of a bitch, we did this episode.
Uh,
Have a good
Bye,
one,
guys.
dude.
Bye.
Thank you.